Hello, this is Richard Zowie. Yes, believe it or not, that is my real last name, Zowie. My great grandfather was from Germany, and my grandfather, when he was a little boy, they decided to Americanize his name. Long story, I'll tell you about it sometime. I work in broadcasting. I also work in retail part time to pay bills and make ends meet. And I also am trying to get into fiction writing. I used to work as a journalist full time, but decided to leave the journalist profession because, seeing where the camera goes. Okay, I need to look this way. I decided to leave the journalism profession because I just realized personally if I kept doing it, I would never have time to pursue fiction as a career. And fiction's really what I want to do as a writer. It took 15 years or so as a journalist to realize, okay, I like doing this, I'm pretty good at it, but this just is not really what I want to do. So I still do journalism today, but broadcast journalism. So anyway, let me get back on topic. A quick story I want to tell, and that's the purpose of this post. Today I decided to add to my DVD collection 4 DVDs. I got them off of eBay. One, the regular version of Dances with Wolves. I have the one that's like 4.5 hours long. I decided to get the regular one. 2, Poltergeist, one of my all-time favorite movies. Great film, nice and scary. You know, what's happening? And of course, you removed the headstones, but you left the bodies. How creepy would that to be to think that, wow, this neighborhood is built on a cemetery. No wonder strange things are happening. I also got Jewel of the Nile because I loved Romancing the Stone. And finally, I got the movie Amityville Horror. I watched Amityville Horror many years ago when I was married, and we read the book also. And at the time, we were completely convinced it was true. Now, 20-something years later, I kind of think it probably isn't, but we'll have to see. George Lutz swore up and down into his death that it really did happen. He was played in the movie by James Brolin, the first movie. And of course, we know what happens. They buy the house, and after 30 days, crazy things happen, and they leave the house, leaving their possessions behind. And in subsequent books, they apparently get haunted to other places they go as well, but that may be more fiction. I don't know. But when I first watched Amityville Horror as an adult, I was studying Russian in the army, and at the end of when I was at Defense Language Institute, we had to do a defense language proficiency test where we were graded on our listening skills, our reading skills, and our speaking skills. 1+ was okay, you could do better, but good enough. A 2 is acceptable. 2+ means you did really well. 3 means you were exemplary. So on the reading exam, I got a 2+. On the listening exam, I got a 2. Then came time for the oral exam. Half an hour, and with the exception of the last, I think, minute and a half, all in Russian. Всё по-русски. And the teacher asks me, what do you like to do in your spare time? And keep in mind, this is in Russian. I told him, well, I like to watch movies. What kind of movies? Horror movies. And teacher says to me, какие ужасные фильмы? What kind of horror films? I told him I'd recently seen Amityville Horror, and I realized then the mistake I made because I could not remember the Russian word for haunted house, priest. I also could not remember the word for pray either. And so I described the scene where Rod Steiger's in the house, and he's trying to do a blessing, and he hears, "Get out! Get out!" And I tell the teacher, that I basically describe it this way in Russian. This is a movie about a house where Satan lives. That's how I said haunted, because I didn't know the word haunted. I said a family lives there, and they are afraid. They ask their Catholic friend, a priest, to go into the house and pray, i.e., they ask him to talk to God because I didn't know the word for pray. And then I get to the part where he says, get out. And the teacher kind of jumped when I go, Vwehaditya. Vwehaditya. Well, Vwehaditya actually means come out. And there's many different Russian words when it comes to motion verbs. The get out is actually uhadi, but I froze up and couldn't remember that. So, but I did give her scared. Hopefully she understood what I tried to mean. And then, of course, in the exam, I jumped in a couple of other areas I wasn't really too the best at, and I ended up getting a 1+. But looking forward to watching Amityville Horror again, and they also have director commentary, which is always fun and so forth. So, but anyway, this is Richard talking about horror films on YouTube. You have a good night, and don't ever do what I did that one time. I was bored at 2 a.m, flipped on Netflix, and decided to watch a little bit of The Shining. Big mistake. Have a good night.